Recruiting. Big bad word in real estate, right? Nobody likes to be recruited. I mean, I partially agree with you there, but the only reason is you've been recruited the wrong way by far too many people. And so now we think that recruiting is just this bad thing in general. Well, it doesn't have to be. Okay, recruiting or agent attraction, when done right, whether that's bringing people to your brokerage or bringing people to join your team that you're building, if done properly and it's based on a relationship and it's based on value and it's done a certain way, it could actually bring value to everybody. It's a win-win-win. So we're going to be talking about that today on this episode with Brody Saunders, the founder of IdealEstate. IdealEstate built a tool for agent attraction that is actually extremely powerful. And so Brody's noticed some trends of those that are successful with attracting agents and those who are not, and he's going to share those with us today. So if you have any desire to build a team or bring people to your brokerage, no matter where you are right now, no matter who you're with, this is the episode for you. What's up, guys? I'm here with Brody Saunders, the founder and CEO of IdealEstate, and we're talking agent attraction today, but not the way you'd think. You know, recruiting has gotten a bad rap. It has a negative connotation. And, you know, if we're being honest, for good reason. But Brody and IdealEstate has built something super cool that is doing agent attraction the right way. So I want you guys, no matter which brokerage you're at, if you are trying to get people to come work with you, work for you, join your team, whatever that looks like for you, you're going to want to hear this. So Brody, welcome back to the Massive Agent Podcast, my friend. How's it going?
Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me, Dustin. Great to be here. Always a fan of yours, and excited to talk about what we're doing here.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, you're a friend, and it's cool to see what you've been working on over these last couple of years, and you're doing some cool stuff. So, for anyone that doesn't know you or IdealEstate quite yet, 30 seconds or less, just kind of, let everyone know what IdealEstate is, and then we'll jump into the meat of the conversation, how to properly attract agents to your team or brokerage.
Of course. So for those of you that aren't familiar with us, we're sort of known as the LinkedIn real estate at this point. And so we've got about 1.2 million agents on the site, and we create a really great feature to help agents attract that's really taking the R out of recruiting and putting it into relationship building. And what I mean by that is two-way insight. So if you're going to build a relationship with someone you're going to work with, usually helps if they can look at you and you can look at them and get to know one another. And so we actually created a feature that helps, pair agents almost like a dating site. And, it yields better outcomes because there's nothing worse than bringing someone over that leaves because it's not the right fit. And so we'll use probably a lot of dating analogies today, but we've created something that really aligns agents in a meaningful way to help both of you grow. And part of that is answering the question from the recruiter standpoint or agent attractor standpoint, why should someone join your team? Well, because you sold a bunch of homes and you do a good job and you're going to answer the phone and you're going to be a good partner. So we've created something that really aligns with that part of the process, which, a lot of people struggle with in this industry. And we've seen that.
They do, for sure. I've been an agent for 11 years, almost 11 years. I've been recruited the right way and I've been recruited the wrong way 98% of the time. And everybody listening has, even people that maybe aren't agents yet, have probably been recruited to be a real estate agent on LinkedIn, especially. And the problem is, and you alluded to this, Brody, the problem is you're trying to you're trying to convince someone to come with you and sell them. Okay. And persuade them.
Yeah.
But what you're missing is the relationship. This is what drives me nuts. I'll get a random phone call or a voicemail and they're like, hey, this is Susie from, Stonebrook Real Estate or, insert brokerage here. Our broker would love to talk to you and blah, blah. It's like, cool. That's very personal. First of all, it's a very personal touch when their assistant calls you. It happens all the time. I'd say that's more common than not. But they're just like, hey, we want to bring you over to our brokerage and tell you all about it. I don't have time for that shit. And I'm perfectly happy. And even if you're not perfectly happy, you're going to tell someone you are because you don't you're just not open to that tactic. So
Sure.
with what you've built on Ideal Estate and the agents that have been using it now for a minute,
Yep.
what are you seeing? What kind of, what was your thesis before you built your agent attraction tool? And then, how has that changed or been solidified, since?
It's really all about messaging. And so with our site, and I can share my screen and do whatever if we want to in a few, but
Sure.
the
Yeah.
reality
The
is,
YouTube viewers can watch it.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just share my screen real quick. So what we're doing that's different is you can actually add in your pitch, which is sort of, here's why, sort of your one paragraph thing, like you're on a dating site. Here's a little bit about me, what I can do for you. You can also set what you're looking for in the ideal candidate, which you can do right here. And so what's phenomenal here is people can see you and you can see them. And so we're going away from, what I talk to a lot of agents about, and I've talked to thousands of agents, as you know, their alternative to this is basically getting, a list of agents with maybe their metrics and then cold calling. Terrible way to build a relationship. And then it's the, come join my brokerage, throwing out some like random stats, nothing about the other person. So where we're switching everything here is what can you do for someone else? And that's the most enticing thing. So we recommend people ask questions rather than lead in with recruiting with a capital R. And we've created so many different features to help. And we actually have so many people on the site that are actively looking to join a new team or switch brokerages. It's as important for them to find the right fit as it is for the agent attractor or recruiter to be able to connect with them. We also have all these folks looking to grow their team, and they're actually landlocked. I mean, they're solid people. They want to, grow their business, but they can't. And so we're trying to help align people. A lot of people are moving these days. It just makes it really, really easy to connect and share and to build that relationship. And obviously, we're also always building your pipeline here. That's something unique to IdealEstate, LinkedIn of real estate, once again,
right?
In your pipeline. So the more people you're connected with, every time you get a new, listing or promotion or post of service or whatever it might be, you're actually promoting yourself automatically while you're in bed sleeping. So it's something we're really excited about.
What's so cool is, LinkedIn is open to every industry, right? This is a real estate specific networking, social network type of platform, right? And that's oversimplifying it. There's more to it than that, of course, but that's also the power of it is it's industry specific. And so, you kind of alluded to this. If you're going to recruit, hey, guys, I don't care which brokerage you're at, or maybe you just want to start a team. If you want people to come work with you, partner with you, first off, you have to start looking at it as you're partnering with them. They're coming to work with you. So you are a very important part of that conversation. It's not just, hey, check out what our brokerage can do. Here's our split. Here's our cap. Here's this, that, and the other thing, company stock or not. That's great. But they then, above and beyond where they're going, they need to think about who they're going with, who they're going to go work with.
Yeah, and that might be something personal, like you like a certain sport, or you like wine tasting or food or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's the connection. Anyone can look at any website and see the splits.
Yeah, that's informational.
You can see any of that information for many big brokerages. Like, the information's out there. It exists. It's about who you're going to connect with. And, it's something we talk about a little bit. Like, no one's loyal to Microsoft. They're loyal to the people they work with there. It's the same sort of relationship building that we're trying to foster here. And it kind of comes down to the analogy we're talking about, in this kind of a crude analogy, but if you're at a bar and you watch, some guy hit on every girl at the bar and strikes out every single time and just keeps going around, that's not a good strategy to have for anyone there. You have to present value, ask questions, really put the other person first. That's really what we're all about here.
it could be worse, Brody. He could have had his assistant go and hit on these women for him at the bar.
And that's even worse.
That's
Yeah,
even
you don't want to
worse.
have your virtual assistant do it for you.
I laugh every time I get one of those calls or texts. It's mind-boggling to me. They don't understand that the relationship is everything. So
Yeah.
whatever you're doing to cultivate and grow relationships and start new ones, it has to actually do that. So when you first showed me the Ideal Estate agent attraction tool, you remember in the beginning, I was like, well, I don't know about that, Brody. Like it could get spammy if you have all these people.
Yeah.
If there's no limits to how many people can raise their hand and say, I'm looking to grow my team or I'm looking to join a new one, and you have all these recruiters just like hounding them. I'm like, that's not good. I don't want to participate in that.
Yep.
How have you prevented spam and, overwhelm and shit like that?
Let me show you.
Please.
So what's really cool here is we didn't just make this exclusive, on that level. We did it in general. So we only allow so many people to even have this feature.
Nice.
And that's really to preserve the quality of the product. And so if I go to recruit here, let's say I recruit Scott, for example, and I can check his metrics, I can connect, I can message, I can do those things.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to recruit him, no one else can do it for 6 weeks. Takes him off the table. So, essentially we're dating. And, from his perspective, if he was in the market looking to move, I mean, he can look at anyone he wants to. I mean, that's his prerogative. We have two different, needs that we have to fill. We have to help the people looking to attract, and we have to help the people looking to find a new home. And so we're doing that. So they're not limited at all, but it's pretty phenomenal to be able to click a button, see what their stats are, and get to know them a little bit better as an agent. So 4 listings, price range, this is where they work, check out their profile, check out their network. You can search the entire network and find people you want to talk to. And it really is about that first step of starting a conversation, which is where most people struggle with attraction. So totally. It's intimidating to put yourself out there to, try to attract that way. So first step of attraction, you have to be in front of a lot of agents, and they have to be able to see you and see you as an agent or as someone they would, want to potentially partner with. Mm-hmm. Second part is they need a way to evaluate you and you them. You have to have a great way to reach out. You have to constantly be building your pipeline. We've solved all of these problems in spades. And so that's where we're very excited.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that Scott, for example, he's not going to have 8 different agents trying to recruit him through your platform with this functionality, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, obviously, anyone can send a message to another person, but that's a separate deal. It's not.
You could Google anyone and call them. I mean, you can abuse a phone book.
This is true.
From our standpoint, it's really about creating that relationship that matters.
Yes. What I love that it shows sales and all that. And, depending on the state you're in, that may or may not be accurate information, but let's assume that it is, or at least partially so.
Yeah.
How awesome is that if you're trying to start a team, a sales team, and you're looking for the right people rather than posting on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for an agent, or posting in a local agent Facebook group, hey, I'm looking for a licensed agent. And then you just get applicants that may or may not have any, that you wouldn't be a good fit with, or they wouldn't be a good fit for you. This way you can do a little bit of research. You can seek people out specifically for a reason and start to cultivate a relationship. And you may find out there is no relationship there. Okay. Well, there's, 1.2 million agents on your site, right?
Yeah. But the good news is maybe you can share referrals, or maybe they have someone who moves locations.
Yes.
What I see a lot of agents, that are kind of landlocked is they use broker metrics, or they use, other tools there. Well, they're limited by their location. Now, right now, the world's changed. Yes. Everyone's moving. People are moving to new locations to find listings, to find brokers that they want to work with. If you're a boutique shop and you're in New York and you want to move to Florida, it's not as simple as just changing Keller Williams, designations. You have to find the right folks. And if you're looking to attract people coming to your area, this is like the biggest thing out there right now, with the low inventory. People are moving to find listings to sell.
Right.
It's a livelihood. So from our perspective, we're helping to make connections, and you have the broker metrics that are out there, but it only works for your local area. So we're doing this nationwide, which is unique to what we're doing, and even international.
Yeah, that's so cool. And the brokerage I'm with, I chose because it's borderless, or rather, there's no geographical limitations to where or how you can do business, which is super cool. And there are other brokerages that are moving in that direction as well. And
Sure.
so you guys you skated to where the puck's going to be, and you're like, this is it. Like, it's not just limited to Salt Lake City. This is limited to the United States or North America or the freaking world. It's pretty cool.
No, that's very true. And the other part too is, a lot of agents looking to grow are limited by their location with the low inventory. And the world has changed. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I read a stat recently, maybe 60% of the people, out there maybe won't go back into the office
Yeah.
going forward. I mean, that was in, the Wall Street Journal, a bunch of different publications, but, going virtual and being able to work and collaborate anywhere is becoming more and more, important for everybody. I mean, my office is in Salt Lake City. I live in New Hampshire.
Right.
And it's great to be able to have both. But my team's in Salt Lake City. I'm in New Hampshire. But nothing's changed because you have great tools to be able to do that.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I'm in Salt Lake and I have agents on my team in 30 or more states now. And
Yep.
it's just so cool. Thanks to this, the interwebs. Question about tactically,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you are seeing on your site, in messages, in these relationships being built on Ideal Estate? What are those that are doing it well and having traction from what you can see? What are they doing that others aren't? What can anyone learn? What can we learn from those that are being successful?
Of course. So basically, if you go back to the other example I gave you, the alternative is you get a phone book and you make cold calls.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like plan, B to what we're doing. On our site, you get to see people, you get to know them, everything else. The people that are having great success with this ask a question first. That's simple. And it might be, hey, I saw your profile. Congratulations on the new listing. Would love to chat with you. And send me your phone number. Let's connect. Just like you would do if you were introducing yourself to, on a date or something. You wouldn't lead in with, let's get married tomorrow. And, what's your name? So people who ask a question, they're thoughtful. And it seems like that's a lot of work. It's really not. You know this. Maybe 5 minutes a day, just doing a little bit of follow-up. You'll have great success here. We're seeing agents that have phenomenal success here as well, and brokerages. But it's really about just tailoring a little bit of the approach and reach out to 10 people well, not 100 people poorly. And you'll have far better success. If you're going to go try to reach out to all these people, it's not going to work. They're going to know the difference. And you're really asking someone to make a very intimate relationship with you without any context. So if you lead in with that, you're asking them to quit their job, to come be with someone they've never been, they don't know you, they don't know if you're going to be a good fit at all. So you're just going to throw your stuff, out and move. And then how do you be successful going forward? And so we see a lot of agents really lead in with coaching. That helps. But that's a relationship building tool. It's not a closing tool. And I say this all the time, like people ask, like, what is our closing rate? And the answer is, what is yours? Because you have a Rolodex of everyone. You have all the tools you need to evaluate them. It's about your messaging. So you have to make sure your messaging is solid. And that's not a cop-out. It's just it's a full-blown fact.
That's not a cop-out at all.
Yeah. So if you have bad messaging, it doesn't matter what your tools are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like asking Facebook, will Facebook messages work to, find me a girlfriend, or to, communicate with my client or convert a lead through Messenger? You know, what's your conversion rate, Facebook? It's like, what are you talking about? What's yours? You know,
Yeah.
what are you going to say? When are you going to say it? Are you likable? Are you like all that stuff, a million different variables that's not on the platform, that's on the individuals who are having the conversation.
Yeah. And so if you lead with bad content, you're going to have a bad experience, not just on our site, but anywhere.
Yeah.
And so we're very hands-on with coaching and support, as you know, to make sure that people reach out in the right way. I mean, it's in our best interest. We're not a company that, you know, says sign up and then good luck. It's in our best interest to make sure you attract well, because we have a lot of people that are on the site using it for other reasons, and we want to make sure they have a great experience as well. And you know, in terms of, you know, attraction though, I won't be shy to say this really is the best product out there if you use it well. You know, your alternatives, you know, again, the phone book, cold call stuff, not fun for anyone in the process. But we're excited about it, and we're excited to enhance it. So we have a new feature that we're going to be launching that will actually pair you based on personality as well.
Interesting. Explain that a little more.
So we partner with a company called Ecovate, really great company, and they do all kinds of different, you know, simulations, evaluations. And so you'll be able to see, you know, at a glance how someone might fit. You'll be able to say, here's my A player. How's Brody compared to my A player? And what are the areas that I might make Brody become an A player? Really exciting stuff. It'll be out soon.
That is cool. What I love about this, and from my point of view, how this is different. And when you say it's the best thing on the market for recruiting or attracting agents to your brokerage or team, I see that. I agree with that. I haven't seen anything better, because, and here's why: you guys are the Google ads to everyone else's, you know, billboard.
Yeah.
What I mean is, with a billboard, it's a spray and pray strategy. You know, like you just want as many people to see it as possible, and in hopes that some of them will be the right audience and resonate with it and actually, you know, want to buy the product or service or whatever, right? It's like putting business cards. You go to a movie theater parking lot and you put a business card on everyone's freaking window, right?
Yeah.
You're just throwing shit out there to see what sticks. Well, here's the problem with that. And what the real problem is, sometimes it works. You know, sometimes you'll get one or two people, and then you confuse yourself and delude yourself into thinking that, oh, this strategy is a good one because it got me somebody. Well, here's the problem. If you attract an agent to your brokerage or your team that way, in this highly impersonal, spammy way, where it's like, hey, boom, you want to, you know, let's get married. What's your name? You know, that kind of thing. Or have your administrative assistant do it for you, then you're training people how they should do it as well. So if you're at a brokerage that encourages collaboration, you know, like mine and a few others, that they encourage us to bring our friends and to bring people with us, to partner with them. And if we show them how we brought them in, they're going to think they have to do the same thing. We train people. Whatever we do to bring on a new team member or a new agent to the brokerage, whatever we do will duplicate. Are you duplicating the right things? And so what you guys are doing based on the platform, people have raised their hand and said, hey, I'm looking to join a different team, or I'm looking to grow my team. Those are qualified. Like those are intent-based versus just like the masses.
100%. And from that standpoint, though, even though they're intent based, if you reach out to them and say, hey, I heard you're, you know, super dissatisfied with your current job, no one wants to answer that question in the affirmative.
Correct.
No one wants to say, yes, I'm super upset. I've been waiting for your call all day. They'll say no. You have to reach out and ask them a question. Hey, how are you doing? How is your business going? You know, from our standpoint, I think we have sort of a, you know, a bird's eye view of the entire market. And where we can see it is it's moving virtual, for one. The second part is people are moving all over to find listings because there's no inventory. And so if you're a listing agent, you're lucky enough to get a listing, great. But then you've got 30 buyer's agents bidding on it. They're all doing the same amount of work, but one of them is going to get it. So it's like being on The Bachelor. And so it's a little bit difficult from that standpoint. So what we're trying to do is kind of break down those barriers where people are, landlocked, or they can't feel like they can grow, even though they're Rockstar agents. And
Right.
so that's part of what we're really excited about. And, obviously we're, continuing to evolve the product, but, from our standpoint, it's a great alternative to anything anyone else could do.
Yes. So some thoughts I have, and I want to get your take on this too. When it comes to attracting agents or recruiting, I understand why those have negative connotations because of how most of us have been recruited before by somebody's freaking assistant. But what you're really doing, if you zoom out, depending on the brokerage you're with and the opportunity and the business model that you are offering, there's some of them that you are doing somebody a disservice by not at least showing them, hey,
Sure.
You've said you're looking for something better. You're struggling with a lack of inventory. You don't know how to get your own clients, at least at the level that you want. I do. So there's actually a way, if you come join us, that I become a coach and a mentor and no money changes hands. You're not going to pay me for that mentorship. You're going to join my group. And now the only way that I'm financially incentivized is to help you smash it.
Yep.
That is so powerful. That is absolutely changing the industry, I believe, for the better. And it's high time that people start to see that recruiting is not necessarily a bad thing. The agents, part of my group that I've personally brought in or that they've brought in, there's been dramatic upticks in homes sold. For example, Jeff West, a good friend of mine in Oregon, he left his team. He'd only been a buyer's agent prior at his team, and he was doing pretty well. But he came over and joined with us. He's now a listing agent and a buyer's agent. He sold a crap load more homes. He has a much better lifestyle and more freedom because he's calling his own shots. And he just hit the Icon Award, which gives him his entire $16,000 cap back in stock. So he's basically getting paid to be with us. And that happened because he linked up with the right people who could help him cultivate and grow his strengths and focus on those. That is so cool. And if that wouldn't have happened, if we're like, no, recruiting's bad. It's done poorly. It doesn't mean that the concept is poor.
Well, I have to say one thing about recruiting that I think is really important. I think I've become an expert on the whole process. And
you see it happen from a very high level, don't you?
Everyone recruits. So if
right.
Doesn't matter who you are, what brokerage you have, you're recruiting all the time. So if you're a brick and mortar brokerage, you're using broker metrics in your area and you're recruiting. You're not recruiting from your own pool. You're recruiting from everyone else, and they're recruiting from you. And so it's really just a pass around where it's a zero-sum game. And especially if you're local that way. And so from our perspective, everyone's always recruiting. It's how you do it. And I think that's the most important part, which is it's not like some brokerages don't recruit and they're against it. Everyone. Right. It's, are they afraid of other people doing it better? Of course they are. Yeah. From my perspective, I think that we've created an approach that's very, very solid in terms of helping you not just, we don't recruit at IdealEstate. We build relationships, and sometimes they'll happen over a period of time. You might connect with someone today that 6 months later becomes the person, but that's going to add to your bottom line. It's going to help you, and you're going to retain more people.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing. Like, you have recruiting and you have retention. Retention is more important. A lot of people don't focus as much on that. And if you're not getting good listings and you're bored in your area and you can't really go next door because you're in the same situation, retention becomes a problem for a lot of different folks, and we're trying to help everyone.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Brody, because you're right. if you are bringing people over and it's all about, if there's no personal connection or no relationship and they're just joining you because of your split or your low fees or, whatever, you've told them that you'll give them leads. Cool. If that's the only thing that it's about for them, they'll leave for the same things. If they'll come for the money, if they'll come for the leads, if they'll come for whatever, they'll leave for the same damn thing. And do you blame them when there's no relationship keeping them there? When there's no, if they're joining for those things and to work with you and for you to introduce them to your mentor who can help them, go from 50 sales to 200, and all of that, is just part of the deal for joining the group. That's what they're there for,
That's why I brought up the example with Microsoft. Like, people aren't loyal to Microsoft. They're loyal to the people they work with there.
Yes.
And that's true. And that's kind of a broad example. I mean, probably a lot of people don't like Microsoft philosophically, but I think the example, is it goes across every plane here, where if you don't have a good relationship with the people you work with, you don't want to work there.
Yeah.
So the whole point is you build a good relationship, bring people on, they're going to be loyal to you and to your organization. So you're an extension of that. They're loyal to you, and by extension, they're loyal to whatever organization you're working with. That's how they build loyalty. And retention is the most important part of this, because, I looked at these stats, and I think it costs like somewhere around $12,000 to $15,000 to lose a Walmart bag checker. That's the cost to Walmart if they lose someone that leaves.
Holy crap. It's
insane. And so retention's very, very important. And that's obviously not, in this industry, but
same concept.
I'd say it's probably far more expensive to lose a great agent.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Very interesting. It's super cool what you've built, Brody. And, last time you were on the show, we were just talking about what IdealEstate was. And I don't even think this was considered at that point, but it's cool to see that you saw a need. And, you looked at you looked at the types of communications happening on the platform, and you're like, why don't we just build this to help them do that? So I applaud you for that. It's pretty cool. If anybody wants to check it out, I'll have you give me a link afterwards, but let's go with massiveagentpodcast.com/Brody, BRODY. There you go, Brody. You have your own link. And then that'll send you right to the IdealEstate site, so you can check out this agent attraction tool. Doesn't matter which brokerage you're with, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Agnostic to all. So.
Yeah. And it could just be if you want to start a sales team and bring on buyer's agents, like same tool. Yeah.
Yep. 100%. And we do, 50 other things, as you know.
Yes.
But I always work with everyone personally. So anyone who needs to reach out to me, I'll also have you post my personal contact info in the link.
Sure. Yep. We'll put that in the show notes, wherever you're listening to this, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description, we'll have Brody's contact info. Brody, man, thank you so much for coming on the show again for the second time, a returning guest. There aren't that many of them, so, it's kind of cool. And, sharing your wisdom.
Awesome, my friend. Great to see you, as always.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.